The first inner child doll that I bought was this little one, and I went out to a shop and I just looked at the dolls and thought about which one I connected with. And this, I think, is my free child. She is fun, she loves to meet people, she's very friendly, a part of me that I'm really happy with and contented with. And even as I look at her now, she brings a bit of a smile to my face. She's into everything. I then started thinking about that doesn't represent the whole of my inner child, and having done a little bit of therapy, I thought I needed to find another doll. So the doll that I got next was this one, and I chose her because of her eyes, and they are open, they don't close as you rock her. If this one is about 3 or 4, I know exactly how old this one is. She is 1 year and 5 days, because that was when my younger sister was born. And the image I have is being on my mother's bed, looking down at my mum and thinking, what the heck is that? As I looked at my younger sister. It's a part of me that is shocked, and it's like the whole world has been pulled out from underneath me. A rug's been pulled out from underneath me. She hasn't got no words, she's only 1, but she's got tears, and she goes into a very shocked, tearful place. It's hard to describe, actually. And I can feel it now when I might be in a situation where I'm very happy and confident, it all feels good, and then something happens that I didn't expect and is just shocking to me, and I can slip right back into this part of me, and for a moment I don't know what to say. I could be quite tearful, and it can take me a little while to regain my composure. And it's particularly with betrayal, particularly when friends that I knew well have done something that really hurt me, then I can go to this place, quite a tearful place. The next doll that I got while I was looking at my inner child stuff was this one. As you can see, she's in her school uniform. She is around 6, 7, 8, that sort of age. And this is when she really started to struggle. I'm a bit dyslexic, and I struggled to give people what they wanted. I struggled to please people, and she was heartbroken that she couldn't do and be the good girl that she'd always been up to then. So although she's got a smile on her face, it's a bit of a forced smile, but she tries her very hardest to be good. This next doll was a part that I had to go looking for very specifically. I wanted something to represent my angry inner child self. And although she may not look angry to you, this is a good representation of how I expressed anger as a child. It's a bit of a pout, I suppose, a little bit of a tear by one eye, but it's very contained, but quite fragile. This particular doll is fragile in itself, in the makeup of the doll, and she's holding everything in. She's holding her anger in. She doesn't quite know what to do with it, but it's all going internally. She struggles to express how she feels, and probably if she was going to express it, it would be tearful, which is similar to this part. And so in actual fact, I think this part is enabled to express the feelings of my angry doll. So I come here to the tears, which is much more acceptable in my family than the anger is. My mum was quite an angry person, and she was the one that could express the anger, but we as children weren't allowed to, and so therefore I was tearful instead. And it took me a long time to understand her and my anger, and for me to feel brave enough and strong enough to be able to express that anger, and for her not to be so blocked off. She was the part of me that was most separate and most disowned, but I have very fond feelings for her now. To complete my little set, I then went looking for parental parts, a critical parent part and a nurturing parent part. And I wanted to do that because I recognised that even as a child, I'd internalised those voices. So I chose this little one to represent my internal critical parent. And as you can see, she's carrying a Bible, a little rule book. This is primarily because, as a Christian family, things that we did wrong were often labelled not good as a Christian. You know, good Christian girls don't do that. And therefore, I had internalised my mum's critical parent voice, but also a sense that was God's critical parent voice as well. Yeah, my internal critic. She may be quite small as a doll, but she has quite a loud voice. The next doll I chose represents my internal parental that's more nurturing. And this is a little nurse. And as I was growing up, I got ill quite a bit from tonsillitis. And those were the times when my mum nurtured me the most. I can remember being really looked after during those times. And I wonder sometimes actually whether I was more ill sometimes than I actually was, just because I wanted to be nurtured. I wanted to be looked after. I wanted to have that special time with mum. She's pretty good at helping me now to be good and kind to myself, to slow myself down, to give myself space and time if I need it. The last doll that I got was this baby doll. And actually I got her as a training exercise and as something that I was looking at for clients, and didn't really connect with her as me for quite a while, which is interesting. But now I'm fully connected into the fact that this is me as a baby. I feel very affectionate towards her. I think she is very contented in being held and just loves being held. Yeah. Although it took me quite a while to find her, I'm very attached to her now. She is a part of me that is very content to be held, to be known, to be loved. Yeah. She is actually quite securely attached and quite secure in herself. And I realise now that she came, obviously, she came before all of the others, and that this was a good time. This was a good time that was just me and mum.